Hi everyone, and welcome to an episode of Flawless. My name is Micah and I'm your host. So before we get started with today's episode, I wanted to talk a little bit more about who I am and why I started this podcast. Basically, ever since I was 13 years old, I knew that I wanted to be a lawyer. And now, as a sophomore in high school, I find myself doing everything I can to learn more about the field of law. But growing up in a family without any lawyers, I've had to rely on things like books, websites, and movies. But at the end of the day, I've learned that talking to a real-life lawyer is something completely different. Hearing first-hand experiences from someone who's already walked the path is so essential in learning about the field that you want to pursue, so in my case, law. This realization has led me to create Flawless, Female Lawyer Lessons. Here in Flawless, I aim to inspire those just like me, individuals who aspire to be a lawyer. In Flawless, I also aim to amplify the voices of female lawyers who go through a male-dominated field. So, together, I hope we can learn more about the advice, the strengths, and the challenges that female lawyers face. And without further ado, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Flawless. Here, I'm joined by my family friend Tita M, and we will be talking about her story on how she became a lawyer in the Philippines, because you're actually my first guest where I've gotten the chance to learn about the Philippines law structure and what it's like to be a lawyer here, like from the start. So do you want to introduce yourself to begin with?
I'm Emeline Aglipay Villar. I've been practicing law for about 20 years. I'm in the public interest law because I've been in government for around 18 years.
Wow.
So I've been working in government as a lawyer for 18 years. Part of it also as a legislator, so that also there are some parts that require also the practice of law, being a legislator. And I'm a mom of one daughter, Emma, and that's it. What else can I say?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. But so, as I mentioned, my podcast is really aimed to high schoolers like me, where, you know, it's kind of hard to see and understand what it's like to be a lawyer, especially if a lot of where we get our perceptions of law comes from the media. So can you tell me a little bit about where you started in high school?
My high school is an exclusive girls' school that's quite progressive. It's called St. Scholastica's College. And it's run by nuns, Benedictine nuns, but then these nuns are also quite progressive in the sense that they are members of progressive women's groups in the Philippines. So one of them is called Gabriela, and our president in the school eventually also became one of the heads of Gabriela. So she was instrumental in steering the way of the school towards participating more in socio-civic activities or issues. And so growing up in that school, we were always participating in the issues that were relevant and prevalent at that time. So whether it was a labor dispute, a big labor dispute, whether it was a political issue, we would join rallies. We would be part of the labor dispute in terms of interacting with the laborers who are on strike. If there were demolitions, we would be brought to the trials. So it was eye-opening for me growing up, because that was starting high school. And even in grade school, actually, our religion classes involved going to the depressed areas. So this opened a whole new world for me, in the sense that, of course, I grew up in a more privileged household compared to the depressed areas that we were brought to. And this opened my eyes to the social issues that our country faced. And I guess that was what made me want to become a lawyer. Those experiences that I had in my school, in my high school, that made me realize how important it is to have a knowledge of the law to defend yourself.
Yeah.
These people who were part of the rallies, who were part of the labor disputes, who were picketing, who were on strike, whose houses were being demolished, they had rights, but a lot of them didn't know what their rights were. And so they were abused, they were exploited because they didn't know what their rights were.
Yeah.
And they depended on lawyers to help them fight for their rights and defend themselves. And I saw that through my school, through the experiences that they exposed us to at a young age.
Yeah, that's really amazing. You know, I think it's really special that you got to experience that, especially because I think nowadays a lot of kids my age aren't aware of these sort of issues that are going on. I think it's really cool how those experiences actually inspired you to want to go into law. So after that, is that what really set you on your path of pursuing law?
Yes, I guess that made me realize a lot of things at an early age, about your age, when I was in high school. And I decided that I wanted to take up law based on that.
So after high school, did you go to college in the Philippines as well?
I did. So I went to LaSalle and I took up economics. Economics and business actually, but later on I dropped the business and it was just economics because I decided that I just wanted to go straight to law. At that time, I took those courses, a double degree, because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do business or law yet. So I wasn't sure yet. So I just wanted that route to still be open for me. But then later on, I just decided, okay, I'm pretty sure that I want to take up law.
So can you tell me a bit more about kind of the system in the Philippines? Is it different from U.S. colleges? So I know in the U.S. you do 4 years undergrad and then you go to law school. So is it the same?
It's the same. It's the same.
I see.
So there are some courses also that you need to take. Some units, a number of units that you need to take, like Rizal, and I don't know if it's still the same now, but when I took up law, we needed to take some units of Rizal and some units of Philippine history.
I see.
Yeah, that's what I recall, yeah.
So did you kind of realize what law you wanted to specialize in during college, or was there an experience specifically that, you know, you wanted to go, I think, was it like working in the government? Yeah, public interest law.
Yes, that's what I decided on when I was in high school, given the experiences that I mentioned earlier that pushed me to want to take up law, or was the inspiration behind my desire to take up law. It was more of public interest law.
I see. So what did you struggle with most and enjoy most in law school?
In law school, it was really time consuming. So, and I was prepared for that. I was very studious in college and in high school, so I'm used to studying. And law school was a whole lot of studying. It's a different level.
Yeah.
So we have the volume of what we have to read is just overwhelming, to be honest. So that was quite difficult for me to adjust to, because I'd have to sit for hours and hours just reading.
Yeah.
And but eventually you'll get used to it. That was what I found difficult about law school. Law school in the Philippines, there's a lot of it's through recitation also. You learn through reasoning and recitation is something that you have to contend with daily. So you don't just have to know like how to study smart. You also have to know. You also have to practice critical thinking.
Yeah.
It's not just about memorization.
Is there anything specifically that you really enjoyed about law school?
I enjoyed like being able to apply what I learned right away with the political problems that were the current events, I guess, the political problems that I would see in the news or read in the newspaper. I would automatically like be able to apply. Oh, this is this, or
Yeah.
I would see like, oh, he can't do that because it violates this.
Yeah. Okay, so my next question would be, can you walk me through like what you did as soon as you graduated with your degree? So what was after you got your law degree and finished all your studying? What was the first thing that you did, or like in your career?
After I graduated, when you're top in the Philippines, when you graduate at the top of your batch, like top 10, the big law firms send you letters to invite you. So I got invited because I graduated. Either if you top the class or you top the bar exam, they automatically invite you to join the firm, and they some firms even give signing bonuses. So there are only a handful of really big, good law firms. I mean, a lot of good law firms in the Philippines, but there are a handful of really big ones, like the older ones, the older law firms in the Philippines, and the bigger law firms in the Philippines. So they're the ones who I received letters from them, the big law firms, when I graduated, even before I graduated. And at first, that wasn't my plan. Like I said, I wanted to practice public interest law. So I had really wanted to join the free legal assistance group before.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. And I wanted to take up my master's. So I was also planning for that. And I was told that oftentimes working in government would help in that. So since the free legal assistance group is voluntary, of course I would still have to think of where I would earn money, right? So I was thinking maybe I could work in government and at the same time volunteer my legal services to the indigent, to those who need it. So that was my plan. But then I received those letters, and my parents then told me, maybe you can try to get some experience first in practicing law from these big law firms. So I said, okay. I mean, just 2 to 3 years to gain some experience. So that's what I did. I joined the big law firm first. I did corporate law, but then I had some health issues, so I had to resign. I didn't reach that 2 to 3 year goal of mine to practice first in a big law firm. So that's what happened to me at the start. Yeah, but after I resigned, I pushed through with my original plan. So I joined government, and I handled pro bono cases.
So, going back to when you worked in corporate, it's like from my experience from watching TV shows and sometimes talking to other lawyers, I don't know about in the Philippines, but in the US, those lawyers who've worked at really big corporate law firms have told me how often there's a really big gender discrepancy and how there's more men than women, and kind of the struggles and difficulties of feeling that difference. Did you also experience that in the Philippines, or something similar, or was it kind of equal?
Well, it's strange because when the first hires in the law firm that I went to, there were more women than men. But there are more challenges for women because the law was written by men.
Yeah.
Majority men. Even until now, majority of the legislators are men, and of course the courtroom, everything, all the structure, the legal structure, it's all built by men. So it kind of works against women in a way, and I see this in terms of getting judged often, not by what we say, but like how we say it,
Yeah.
or just because we're women, or our roles in the family or society play into expectations of us, also in biases against us in the workplace as lawyers. So usually we need to put in twice as much work, really, because when we need to take a maternity leave,
Yeah.
we feel like we're missing out on a lot of things when we get back from the maternity leave. It's taken against us.
Yeah. That's what I
They
will
won't
say.
admit it, but it is. It's
Yeah.
taken against us. Like we were gone for some time, so this gives our male counterparts an edge in terms of being considered for promotion eventually. We have responsibilities as a mother in the Philippines. It's more of an expectation of the mother to take care of the children when they are sick, or to be present during their school activities, or if there are requirements in school. It's more of the mother that is expected to be there, not the father. So these responsibilities and expectations of the woman in the family, or her role in the family, has an impact, a negative impact actually, on our place in the firm or in the practice.
So did you feel these kind of same biases when you were also working in your government law position? Or what were the differences from, working in a corporate setting to the government setting?
In the government setting, well, it was also tough. Actually, I would say it's tougher than when I was in the law firm. We worked the same hours. Like when I was working in the Department of Justice, I worked long hours, just as much as I was when I was working in the law firm. But I say that it is more difficult because there are external pressures, like the politics comes in.
Yeah.
So now, in the law firm, of course, there's office politics. But if you make a mistake, then your responsibility is just to your client. But in government, if you make a mistake, you can even potentially be put in jail.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's two different sides.
Yes. So it's really stressful.
Yeah.
When I sign out on something, I really have to make sure that everything is in order.
Yeah. So would you say that was kind of the worst thing about being a lawyer in your experience? That pressure?
The worst thing for me is the work-life balance is really hard to achieve. That's the worst, because when I work hard, and my career is important to me, so I would say I am a workaholic. So when I work hard, I really pour everything into what I do. I really don't have time for my family. I wouldn't be able to see them. I'd leave home, they're still asleep. I leave home in the morning, they're still asleep. I come home, my daughter is already asleep again. On weekends, I work. So it's if you want to be an excellent lawyer and you want to compete with the best in the practice, in the legal profession, you really have to put in the R's. You know, if you want to be the best, you have to put in the R's. If you're content with being mediocre, like just an average lawyer, maybe you can achieve a work-life balance. But if you want to be the best, there is no work-life balance.
I see.
Even if you're a partner already,
Yeah.
you will really have to put in the R's.
I kind of like, I really understand that because, you know, my mom, she's been very, very busy with, you know, with her running her business. So I definitely know what it's like to feel that kind of the work-life balance struggle, like from my mom's perspective. But on the contrary, what would you say is the best thing about being a lawyer in your experience?
The best thing is being able to shape society, like policy. I've seen that like in my work in the government on the policy side. You've seen how lives are really transformed because of the work that you do.
Yeah, wow. That's
So
incredible.
when I was in legislation, when I was a congresswoman, there were several laws that were passed that really transformed lives. Or like for women, for instance, there was the maternity leave law, expanded maternity leave law. There was the reproductive health law. So there were several. There was the kasambahay law. All these actually were for women, because, like I said, that's the inspiration behind why I wanted to become a lawyer in the first place.
Yeah.
For people for the vulnerable sectors, and that includes women. For children, when I was in the DOJ, the Department of Justice, I really pushed for and was part of the people who drafted the online sexual abuse and exploitation law, anti-online sexual abuse and exploitation law for children. So it's to protect the rights of children against online abuse, online sexual abuse. So this has really changed a lot of lives, and I see it working right now. The law working right now, saving a lot of children because of this piece of legislation. And that's the best thing for me. That's the best thing for me. Seeing my work, the work that I've done, transform lives, save lives, and help lives.
Yeah, for me, that's really, really inspiring to hear and to see how, like even as a high schooler, all these experiences that you went through and witnessed kind of really shaped as who you are now, and how that's kind of what motivated you to become a lawyer. And I think it's really cool that you're a part of the DOJ and a congresswoman. Can you tell me a little bit more about those experiences and maybe some like pivotal moments in working both of those jobs that kind of shaped who you are today?
I guess those my time at the DOJ and as a legislator, I was exposed to a lot of the problems that our country and our society faced and continue to face. Right now, you know, we see issues of corruption, and these have existed ever since. And you see problems of abuse of women. You see problems of violence against children firsthand, because of people who come to the Department of Justice to file complaints, and again also when I was a legislator, because of the constituents who go to me and seek my help So when you're exposed to these issues and problems and you see them firsthand, then you try to see how you can use your knowledge as a lawyer to be part of the solution.
Yeah. Wow.
And there are many ways to do that. Since I am in the government, or I was in the government, there were several pieces of legislation that I authored that were in response to these problems that I saw. And at the same time, when I was in the DOJ, when I later on transferred to the Department of Justice, again, there were several policies that I pushed forth to be able to solve several problems that I saw as well. And at that time, the issues that I focused on when I was in the DOJ were on human trafficking and online sexual exploitation of children and violence against children. So later on, when I went to the Department of Social Welfare, those were the same issues that I focused on. And I guess how these have shaped me is that I learned how to practice law with compassion and empathy.
Wow.
So I hope that, as lawyers, we would also be able to learn, as women lawyers, we would also be able to tap into our innate, side of being more compassionate or more caring into our practice.
Yeah, that's really, really inspiring. And I think that's something that, this is all my interviews, I've talked a lot about kind of how hard it is facing these issues and kind of just pushing through. But I think it's really inspiring to hear how you face these issues with the compassionate side and kind of showing that and facing your issues. But has there ever been a legal situation in where you felt really overwhelmed or any other emotion like that?
Yes, I guess a lot because
is there a specific one that you remember so distinctly?
Well, whenever I'm faced with cases of online sexual abuse and exploitation, and you get to see the actual case of a baby, a baby, like an infant. The youngest was 3-month-old infant being sexually exploited, and you get to see the videos, you get to see the photos. It's really something that will change your life.
Yeah.
It's really something that will affect you.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who would see those photos and not get affected.
Definitely.
So it's something also quite overwhelming in the sense that when you realize the magnitude of the problem, that this happens to so many children, to hundreds of thousands of children in the Philippines alone. It's something that spurs you and pushes you to do something about it, especially as lawyers. We know that part of the solution is really not only development of policies, but prosecution, putting those people who do this behind bars. And at the same time, like I said, there's the compassion side. So, taking care of the victims. Law also plays into this because the law right now does not protect the victims. It's also in a way, it encourages their re-traumatization. So when I was in the DOJ, we crafted policies that were victim-centered, that would think of the experience of the victim. So these are the things that we can do as lawyers. Thinking of how we can make life better for those who are vulnerable.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I think often kids my age think of law and they think of the glamorous side. I don't know if you watch Suits.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
But I think first, like, learning about law and what it's like to be a lawyer, that's what I first thought of. And I don't think many kids my age realize the other darker side of what lawyers also need to combat, and how they need to make change in the world through issues like this, not just the fancy corporate stuff. And I think that's really so inspiring. What is kind of like going back on that, and how I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't know about, especially kids my age. What is the biggest lesson that you think a woman my age, or any other, or it could even be a male as well, pursuing law or thinking about pursuing law should consider? Or what's kind of the advice that you would give?
I guess the advice is not to think of being successful, but instead, thinking of how you can make a difference, a positive difference in this world instead. So, oftentimes, like what you said, those who think of law think of the glamorous side. Probably a lot think of the money they will earn, or the fame, or the excitement of representing someone in court or arguing in court. But I think that we should turn into what really matters, and that's making a difference in the life of others. When we go into studying law and the practice of law, the best advice I can give is really to not go into it thinking of success, but thinking of making a difference, thinking of changing lives, thinking of being a part of the solution. And I guess a lot of people who go into law has that in them. All of us, I guess, we just need to really tap into that desire to be part of securing justice for those who really need it, the vulnerable.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. And I think going forward, I think when I began my interest in law, I was also thinking about the glamour, the money as my motivations. But I think from this conversation, I've really realized the other side of thinking, what you can use law for good and how you can use that to shape people's lives. A little story of mine is actually the reason why I actually wanted to go into law was, I think I was maybe 12 or 13. I think this was COVID times, and I've told this story on my podcast before, but it's kind of a funny experience because I was kind of being blackmailed online, like over Instagram, social media. And instead of, doing the conventional path of telling my parents, telling an adult, what I did is I searched up a bunch of laws that would be able to sue the person for defamation, things like that. And that really scared the person, and I got a long apology, and it really showed me kind of the power of law and what it can do to change in ways that aren't through force.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's something that a lot of kids my age aren't also aware about, and the fact that when considering what you want to do in the future, your main priority should be, to help people, not for the other factors.
Yeah, that's you got it right.
Yeah.
That's my advice. But I guess other pieces of advice I can give is, law, like I said, it's a lot of, you see lawyers talking a lot, but it's really more about the listening.
Yeah, wow.
It's really more about the listening to what people need, listening to your mentors, you learn a lot by listening. So even when you enter law school, you'll do a lot of talking. Like I said, recitation is in every class, but the learning is in the listening as well. So you'll need to get a lot of mentors that you can not only learn the law from, but also, get other pieces of wisdom for not just for the practice of law, but in life as well.
Yeah, I think that last piece of advice really kind of touched me as well, because I think that's the whole main idea of my podcast, because I really found that, again, watching TV shows, reading books, reading online is so different from actually talking to a real lawyer and listening about their stories and their experiences. And I think it's moments like hearing your experiences with working in the DOJ and how impactful your career has been to so many Filipinos is really what kind of shapes my idea of law and why I want to pursue it. So I think that's really, really inspiring. And I think, listening is honestly, like you said, the best way to grow. And as we kind of wrap up, is there anything else that you want to share, or any last words?
I guess I've mentioned a lot of stories about how much work it is, how much reading you need to do, how there's no work-life balance. But, practice of law is also very fulfilling. I hope that I didn't scare you or other teens like you from pursuing law, because even though it is a profession that will take up a lot of your time, and it's a very demanding job to be a lawyer, it is also very fulfilling. Like I said, when you see the fruits of your work through the lives of others that were bettered because of you, it's more precious than money. So I hope that all the things that I said won't scare you. Even though lawyers usually, a lot of people don't think highly of lawyers because of those who I guess give lawyers a bad reputation. There are lawyers who use the law not for good. But I hope that all of you who are looking at pursuing law, like I said, would tap into that desire to make a change for the better.
Thank you so much. That's honestly really, really inspiring to hear. And I think everyone who listens to this will kind of realize that fact that, like, when choosing career, again, it should not be the first thing you should not think about is how much money you're going to make, or the fame, or the external things, but it really is how are you going to make a difference, because I think that's what really matters. So yeah, I think that's going to be the end of our podcast. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you, Micah.
It was such a, it was really a great conversation, and I think it's really inspiring to hear how you've really affected and done so much good for so many Filipinos, and especially as a woman, and how inspiring that is, kind of breaking the norm, because as you said, a lot of the laws here in the Philippines are written by men, and to kind of navigate that as a woman is something different and something so inspiring for women like me, especially in choosing or wanting to go into law.
Yeah, you'll see when you become a lawyer that the network and the support of women lawyers in the Philippines is strong. So you can always have your sisters, lawyer sisters, as support in the legal community.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I will see you in the next one.